Pivot Point brings you the latest information. If you're an entrepreneur and you're hoping to turn around your business, this is a place where you want to be. And we're having this conversation this week with a very young entrepreneur who has been, he doesn't want me to say doing very well, but according to my research, he has done very well. His organization is going beyond the 5-year mark, where a lot of institutions will be struggling, but he has done well. And we want him to just share a little bit of information and wisdom. Victor Madzedze, welcome to Pivot Point.
Thank you, Ruby, for having me.
It's always a pleasure having conversations with you, and I'm happy to note that your organization is now going beyond 5 years. You're on to year number 6?
We turned 6 on the 1st of August, so yeah, we'll be 6 in 2 weeks' time.
How did you circumvent the 5-year trap that other entrepreneurs always hit on when they're starting up their companies?
Have we circumvented?
You've gone beyond 5 years.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Our view is that even from day one, we've always sort of taken a long-term view on the business, and we then sort of come up with a few principles around how we manage our business. So we studied what makes businesses fail. They run out of cash, they don't find product market fit, and we said, how are we going to solve for this? So from day one, we've always been deliberate about not failing. So how do we manage cash? We take a disciplined approach. How do we manage product market fit and all that? And I wouldn't say we have one particular reason why we've survived 5 years, but I would just say slow, steady, disciplined growth is how we've got into 6 years.
When it comes to setting up a business, people are often caught in between the trap of where do I get money from? And we know very well that financial institutions need collateral. How did you set up your own institution? Where did you get the money from? Did you have some silver tray stash somewhere? How did you do it?
I wish I had a silver tray. Look, in my case, we run a mobility services company, which we started in 2019. And how I actually raised capital for that was that I used to have a job where I was, I think around 2000, I finished university in 2017. I started working when I was 24, 2018. I was a commercial manager for a company, right? And I performed extremely well. And I used to get bonuses and incentives for performing well. And from that money, I literally said I'm going to live totally below my means. So, I mean, for example, I would spend not less than $250 per month. When I had a bonus, I still live below my means. And what that did is that I ultimately had a lot of savings. Not a lot of savings, but I had savings. And I used that money to buy my first car when I was 24. And I didn't buy this car because I actually wanted to get in business. I was just buying a car for myself.
For Flambo? No, that wasn't.
I just wanted a car. Right. And from then ultimately, I also then got further enlightened that I could actually capitalize this asset that I had, which was a car, right? And I started renting it out. And from renting it out, we then set up a legal structure, a business, and that one car is the seed that has then created our tourism business.
I've always heard that when someone talks of a successful business or a business that has stood the test of time, it's not the first business that they would have attempted to set up. Did you attempt to set up anything earlier than 2019 before the mobility company?
You could say so. I don't agree with the statement, but I would say, but I did have a business that I started. I started I don't even think it was a business. I started a consulting business, a consulting firm when I was in 2018. What we did is we were doing marketing and advertising solutions for for different companies, right? So, I mean, at some point I had a number of schools, as part of my portfolio. I had a gas company, so I was doing marketing and media solutions for them, and we did that for about a year, and that was actually a decent it had a decent trajectory. But when I stumbled upon the opportunity of mobility services, which required more attention, I then had to move away from that business and move into the other business.
Now, I want to quote you directly. There is something that you said, and at one point you said, my philosophy in business is that you shouldn't raise capital, but raise sales instead. Just take us through, because I believe when you're setting up a business, capital is what's important. But here you're saying sales are important. Just explain that philosophy to us.
It is a fundamental position that I have, and where it stems from is that a lot of people, whether young or old, the reason why they're not doing the business that they desire to do is because they say they don't have capital, right? But what you find is what they actually don't need. Most people, if you actually try to zero in on what they need, it's actually not capital. What they need is to start a business, right? And how do you start a business? Let me give you an example. There are a lot of businesses where you can get supply credit. For example, if I have a friend of mine who runs a retail outlet, every morning there are a few companies that come and leave stock with them, and they come to collect the money the next morning, right? So what he just needed was to open a tuck shop, and the different suppliers across, milk, across bread, across, just come and deliver product to him, and he's able to what? He's able to sell, make his margin, and pay his supplier. That's supplier credit. But someone will tell you that I can't start a business because I do not have capital. Are you sure? It's a capital question.
Oh, it's about the drive.
Oh, it's about you actually being proactive and saying, this is what I'm going to do. So in my case, there are so many instances where I've used alternative methods of raising capital instead of actually going to a bank or going to a panel of investors saying, can I have capital? So for me, sales cures all, right? Our business, as it stands, is primarily raised from sales. What that means is the first day that I rented out a car and I got a sale of $40, right? From that $40, whatever the size of our business or whatever its performance numbers, that stems from that $40 that came from the first rental. We are very deliberate about that, and we believe the next car was bought by the first car. So car number 2 was bought by car number 1. Car number 3 was bought by the first 2 cars. And that's how we literally scaled this business. And for me, it comes across like a sound way of raising capital.
Right. So one of the concepts that people have been pushing forward for, around, right? Some say, I'm not going to pin them around, you raise money and you fund your business. So what's your take on that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. What are you?
Kukunga needs a money as friends. And then that money goes, we gather together, Inini, Iwewe, Skilda, Pilo, Morris, we all bring our $500, Chunganiza. And that money, toi pa kuna Victor, Tomti starting up your business. And Victor waiter, Janita, and starts his business. The next time you're kuna someone else, and we do that. Some are saying this is an actual way of funding a business. You could do it as a family, you could do it as friends. But I want to find out from you.
I don't doubt the capabilities of that method of raising capital. Just depending on on the sort of the long-term view of it. Right? Because, for example, the first question I'll have is, what's the tenure of this? Because most businesses require some sort of level of runway or traction. I can't do round on buying a car because the revenue that I generate in a month is not able to cover for the next round. Or for, do you get what I'm saying? Suppose a car will cost you $6,000, but you can only round how much. And next month you have to give it back. And next month you have to give it back. So I wouldn't say it doesn't work, but I think it works for certain businesses. Maybe businesses that that have high volumes, big turnaround, and all that. Ultimately, your method of raising capital that works for you. But I think you just need to be cautious about number one, trust. So do you guys have aligned objectives, aligned vision? Number one, because then do you trust that the next guy would meet their side of the deal? Number one. And if they run away, you've lost your money. So what sort of security are you putting in place such that all of you are committed to this cause? So I'm not an expert in financial advisory, so I wouldn't say this ultimately doesn't work.
Saka, in short, Victor, what is when if we do not have a common goal, Taungan Zamari, in a to Ushan Yak. Kutodona ba sichaiko, essentially. So it's also about having common goals as individuals who are coming together to provide financial resources to start up organizations.
And also just being able to put in the structures in place, right? To say what's the legal basis of this crowdfunding, right? So that we are all we are aligned. I think that it is critical to know the legal basis, the contracts involved, the tenure and all that.
Now, there is a phrase that I bumped into, which I'm not sure if you also subscribe to, but maybe you might have an understanding of it, because I sensed you touched a little bit on it. Bootstrapping. What is bootstrapping and how do I use it for my business?
Bootstrapping it's a subject that I've studied quite extensively, and for me, I actually did a whole thesis on bootstrapping for my master's.
Wonderful.
But in short, bootstrapping is a method on raising capital, right? It's raising alternative capital without necessarily using your traditional streams of, right? So things like can you use your credit card, things like can you use sales, things like delaying supplier payments, and so on. So it's actually a whole array of activities that you do. But in short, bootstrapping is about saying kukunya. It's literally saying I'm going to raise $5,000 by saving $10 per day, and I'm going to make sure I don't over exceed on these costs. So what you find is companies that are well financed, maybe perhaps can run big ad budgets, right? A company that's bootstrapping may find cheaper but effective ways of advertising. So where someone may use $5,000 a month to acquire customers, right? A bootstrapping company may achieve sort of the same results at under $300. So that's sort of the broad concept around bootstrapping.
So we have talked about a number of things that people can venture into to ensure that they start their business. But bottom line is you need to start. If you want to be in business, you need to start. As we are coming to the conclusion of this particular discussion, I just want to find out from you, what was the pivot point of your mobility organization, the point where you say, this is where I was able to spin or turn around whatever we were doing to have a long-term survival mode or growth projection that has taken you this far?
Yeah, and I think that's a very good question. And the actual answer to it is there's none. And what that means is a lot of people are actually looking for the day that you turned around. The truth is, there's no day that you turn around. Turning around is what we call, it's a flywheel concept, right? As Jim Collins calls it in this book, Good to Great, right? Or the other one, Great by Choice. But the plot is that what you do is you start at one, right? And when one works, you move to two, right? And what then happens is, at every, so ultimately it's a game of consistency. Right? So let me give you a simple example. And I like this example so much. If you, I'll use myself as an example. I run about 5 kilometers every day. Right? So that's about 35 kilometers per week. Right? Which then sums to 105 kilometers per month. Right? So ultimately it's about consistency. And what you can find is it becomes 1.2, 1.3 kilometers per year. Right? But I could never do 1.3 kilometers in a day. Or say I want to do 500 today, 500 tomorrow, 500 the next day. The flywheel will not come out. It only works on the basis of 5 kilometers today, 5 kilometers tomorrow, consistently. That's how you hit the 1.3. The 1.3 kilometers, anything that you want to define is the yardstick. Right. So there is actually no one moment that says, no. It's actually a game of saying, I do it today consistently, iteration. What that means is, I do it today, I fail, I fix, I iterate, what's working, what's not, which advertising platform works, which doesn't, which costs are killing my bottleneck, across board, every day. That's how so even today, at turning 6, our horizon is almost what does our business look like in year 10. But if I tell you what year 10 looks like today, you probably think this guy is mad, right? Because nothing today can show for year 10.
Year 10.
But at year 10, then the business will look like it's at another level. But that's only proceeds from today. And that's my approach to business.
Thank you so much, Victor. And you have definitely shared a wealth of information. What I would want to see and what I would want us to continue to talk about are issues to do with financial discipline, and we'll be having these conversations. But for today, I want to say thank you, and definitely I want to try out bootstrapping to see how it will work out for me. So I'll definitely be doing my own journal and sharing that with you. Are you open for mentorship? You can be my mentor.
We can be acquaintances. You learn from me and I learn from you.
Nice. Definitely. From us at Pivot Point, it's Pivot and out.